Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Nishit Kumar and with me is Aditi Lumba with the evening news. The headlines. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar assures farmers that new Farm Reform Acts are in their interest. Fourth round of talks with farmers to be held in New Delhi tomorrow. Health Ministry issues standard operating procedures on preventive measures in markets to contain the spread of COVID-19. National COVID recovery rate reaches 94.03%. Cyclonic storm Burevi is set to landfall tonight near Trincomalee in Sri Lanka. Met Department advises total suspension of fishing operation till Saturday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi assures all help from centre to Tamil Nadu and Kerala to tide over challenges of the cyclone. And in cricket, India beat Australia by 13 runs in the third and final ODI at Canberra. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now, the news in detail. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar has assured the farmers that the new Farm Reform Acts which have been brought are in the interest of farmers. He said they have been brought after a long wait. Talking to reporters in New Delhi today, Mr. Tomar said if farmers have any objection to these acts, then the government is fully ready to discuss with them to address their concerns. Mr. Tomar said they should not resort to protest as it affects the citizens.
कुछ विषयों पर चर्चा हुई है, लेकिन जब तक क्लॉज वाइज क्लॉज एक्ट पर चर्चा न हो और वो एक्ट कैसे किसानों के विरुद्ध है, उसका कौन सा क्लॉज विरुद्ध है, वो तभी तो दिशा आगे बढ़ेगी। सभी किसान बंधुओं से आग्रह करना चाहता हूं कि ये रिफॉर्म किसानों के हित में है और लंबे समय के इंतजार के बाद ये रिफॉर्म आए हैं। इनमें किसानों का हित है, लेकिन किसानों को कहीं भी आपत्ति है तो सरकार उनको सुनने के लिए, उस पर विमर्श करने के लिए, उसका निराकरण करने के लिए पूरी तरह तैयार है। इसलिए आंदोलन का रास्ता किसी को अख्तियार नहीं करना चाहिए।
The fourth round of talks between the government and farmers' representatives will be held tomorrow. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and Minister of State for Commerce Som Prakash met the representatives of farmers' organizations from Punjab in New Delhi yesterday to discuss the issues concerning them. During this meeting, Mr. Tomar emphasized that the government is fully committed towards the welfare of farmers and agriculture development is always on the top priority for the government of India. The Narendra Modi government has taken several measures with an aim to transform agriculture sector in the country and raise farmers' income. The government has recently implemented new farm acts in this direction, which include Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Act 2020 and the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Act 2020. More from our correspondent.
It is a myth that due to the implementation of these farm reform acts, the procurement of agriculture products at minimum support price will stop. The reality is that procurement at MSP will continue and farmers can sell their produce at MSP rates. The government has substantially increased the MSP for paddy, wheat, pulses, oilseeds and copra over the last 5 years. On paddy alone, the government hiked the MSP by 2.4 times in last 5 years. The actual payments made to the farmers on paddy was 4,95,000 crore rupees as against 2,06,000 crore rupees in 2009 to 2014. On wheat, MSP payments to farmers increased by 1.77 times during last 5 years. On wheat, during the period, MSP payments of around 3 lakh crore rupees was made as against 1.68 lakh crore rupees from 2009 to 2014. With Subhagyakar, Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
Health Ministry has issued standard operating procedures on preventive measures in markets to contain the spread of COVID-19. Marketplaces in containment zones shall remain closed. Only those outside containment zones will be allowed to open up. Persons above 65 years of age, persons with comorbidities, pregnant women and children below the age of 10 years are advised to stay at home except for essential and health purposes. Employees who are at higher risk, that is older employees, pregnant employees and employees who have underlying medical conditions must take extra precautions. The market associations will be advised that such persons should not be exposed to any frontline work requiring direct contact with the public. Prior to resumption of daily activities, all work areas inside the shop shall be sanitized by shop owners. Cleaning and regular disinfection of frequently touched surfaces should be done before opening of shops, at the end of the day, and at other appropriate times. Entrance to the shops must have mandatory hand hygiene arrangement. Shop owners need to ensure physical distancing of a minimum of 6 feet inside and outside the shops and utilities. Specific markings on the floor may be made. They must also ensure queue management inside and outside the shops and utilities.
India has leaped across a significant milestone in its fight against COVID-19. The number of new daily cases have been below 50,000 mark for 25 consecutive days. In the last 24 hours, nearly 36,600 new confirmed cases were reported, while over 43,000 people recovered successfully in the same time span. With cumulative recovery nearing almost 90 lakh, the national recovery rate has leaped ahead and reached 94.03%. The recovered cases in the country stand at over 20 times the number of active cases. The active caseload of the country also continues to remain below 5%. The total active cases in the country today stands at 4,28,644, which comprises merely 4.51% of the total reported cases. The Health Ministry has said that this has also led to a commensurate dip in the fatality rate, which stands at 1.45%. Nearly 11 lakh COVID samples were tested in the country in last 24 hours. With this, the cumulative testing figure has reached around 14 crore 24 lakh 46,000. India's testing capacity has touched 15 lakh per day, ensuring easily accessible COVID-19 tests for all. With a view to contain the spread of COVID-19, India went into lockdown early and it also unlocked the economy much earlier. The impact of this is seen in most high-frequency indicators, seeing an uptick. As a result, Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, PMI, rose from 56.8 in September to 58.9 in October 2020, registering the highest figure in over a decade. The PMI Services Index also rose to 54.1 in October, ending the 7-month sequence of contraction, signaling improved market conditions. More from our correspondent.
Power consumption clocked double-digit year-on-year growth of 12.1% in October and 4.5% in the first 24 days of November, reflecting a post-recovery rebound. It also reflects growth and economic activity across all the spheres of agriculture, industry and services. GST collections fell to 8-month high at 1,05,000 crore rupees in October. The GST collection crossed 1 lakh crore rupees after February 2020, registering a positive year-on-year growth of 12.2%. Railway freight grew year-on-year at 15.4% in October and 13.6% in the first 10 days of November. The gross revenue from railway passenger bookings stood at over 533 crore rupees in the first 10 days of November, reaching 8% of October levels. Under MG Narega, 252.4 crore person days of work have been created during April to October of this fiscal, as against 159.7 crore person days in the corresponding period of previous year. With Anand Kumar's report, Naveen Saxena, AIR News Daily.
Maharashtra saw a significant drop of around 50% in the number of COVID-19 cases and deaths in the month of November in comparison to October and September. Moreover, the positivity rate in November was lower than in April when the first wave began picking up. However, active cases are on the rise again in the state, keeping authorities on alert. We have a report from our Mumbai correspondent.
In October, Maharashtra had recorded 2,93,960 COVID-19 cases, which dropped by 50.5% in November to 1,45,490. Fatalities reported in October were 7,249, which dropped by 49.09% to 3,690 in November. The drop in cases and fatalities is even sharper when compared to September. Besides that, the State Surveillance Officer Pradeep Awate said the positivity rate in November was 7.7%, which is lower than the positivity rate in April, which was 8%. However, the State Health Department had alerted the district administration earlier this month, warning it of a potential second wave of COVID-19 infections after the festive period. However, so far there has been no significant increase in the number of COVID-19 cases. Sweetie Jain, AIR News, Mumbai.
Odisha's COVID-19 active caseload has come down to about 5,000, with the total number of affected people has reached 3,20,000 so far in the state. Out of them, about 3,13,000 have recovered. More from our Bhubaneswar correspondent.
The COVID-19 positivity rate in Odisha now stands at 5.35%, with the state having conducted about a whopping 6 million tests thus far. Added to this is the near balancing out of new COVID-19 cases by almost an equal or more recovered cases on a daily basis. Meanwhile, the state government today further reduced the rate of RT-PCR tests in private labs across the state down to 400 rupees inclusive of GST. Private labs in the state are mandated to conduct RT-PCR tests in accordance with the ICMR guidelines. Girish Chandra Das, EIR News, Bhubaneswar.
The Gujarat High Court today urged the state government to draw up a policy to impose community service as a penalty on those found violating COVID-19 safety norms. A division bench of Chief Justice Vikram Nath and Justice J.B. Pardiwala issued the direction to the state government on a petition filed by an advocate, Vishal Aptani. The state government has asked to submit its report on steps taken in this regard before 24 December. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
Gujarat High Court today asked the state government to frame the policy and issue suitable notification to make the community service compulsory for people not following the compulsory mask and social distancing norms. According to the court directives, the non-medical community service will be required to be done at a COVID care center operated by local authorities. The offender is expected to devote 4 to 6 hours a day for a period ranging from 5 to 15 days towards community service. This will be in addition to the fines imposed for violation of the COVID-19 safety protocol. High Court observed that such steps to enforce the compulsory wearing mask will help in containing the spread of COVID-19. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Britain has become the first country in the world to approve the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine today for use and said it will be rolled out from early next week. The British Regulator Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, MHRA, declared that the vaccine offers protection of up to 95% and is safe to be used for immunization against COVID-19. The government has accepted the recommendation from the independent MHRA to approve Pfizer-BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine for use.
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has said that experience of the stalwarts from the film industry will prove vital in developing the world-class film city near Noida. Addressing a press conference in Mumbai today, Mr. Adityanath said that setting up of the film city in Uttar Pradesh is a step towards realizing the dream of Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat. He clarified that he is not snatching away anything from any state, as the move will eventually help in strengthening the country's economy. The remarks by the UP CM comes after leaders from the Shiva Sena expressed reservation on forcibly taking away the film city elsewhere from Mumbai. The Special Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Court in Mumbai today granted bail to Shouvik Chakraborty, brother of Bollywood actress Rhea Chakraborty, in connection with a drugs case related to the death of actor Sushant Singh Rajput. Shouvik Chakraborty had recently moved a fresh bail application before the Special NDPS Court in light of a recent Supreme Court judgment which said that statements or confessions before a Narcotics Control Bureau officer is not admissible evidence.
Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa laid the foundation stone for 11.5 megawatt power plant run on municipal waste. The first of its kind power plant in the state will be capable of converting 600 metric tons of municipal waste into 11.5 megawatt energy. This power plant will add 80.59 million units of power to the existing power grid. More from our Bengaluru correspondent.
Bengaluru generates 5,000 metric tons of waste every day. The Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike and Karnataka Power Corporation have initiated this step to generate power using the city waste. Central government gives an incentive of 35% for the project under Swachh Bharat mission. Chief Minister has said that the power plant being constructed at a cost of 260 crore rupees is likely to be ready by 2022. Once operational, the power plant will help the city municipal corporation save 14 crore rupees annually on solid waste management. The 25% of the waste will be scientifically used by the plant to produce energy, thereby avoiding dumping of waste in the dump yard. This will save the environment and prevent contamination of groundwater. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
The Karnataka Regional Office of NABARD and State Bank of India have signed an MOU to extend concessional refinance facility to the beneficiaries of the watershed development and tribal development projects. The Chairman and Managing Director of NABARD, Neeraj Kumar Verma, and Chief General Manager of State Bank of India, Abhijit Majumdar, signed the MOU in Bengaluru today. The MOU aims to benefit 45,000 beneficiaries from 260 farmers producers organizations in 28 districts. In addition, 8,500 beneficiaries from self-help groups and joint liability groups will be covered. You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar assures farmers that new farm reform acts are in their interest. Fourth round of talks with farmers to be held in New Delhi tomorrow. Health Ministry issues standard operating procedures on preventive measures in markets to contain spread of COVID-19. National COVID recovery rate reaches 94.03%. Cyclonic storm Burevi set to landfall tonight near Trincomalee in Sri Lanka. Met Department advises total suspension of fishing operation till Saturday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi assures all help from centre to Tamil Nadu and Kerala to tide over challenges of the cyclone. And in cricket, India beat Australia by 13 runs in third and final ODI at Canberra. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
To get accurate, reliable and wide coverage of news, tune into AIR News 24/7 and FM Gold and listen to the major bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. in English and 8 a.m., 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. in Hindi of half an hour each.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The cyclonic storm Burevi is set to have its first landfall near Trincomalee in Sri Lanka in the next few hours. A weather bulletin by the Met Department says once it crosses the shores, it is expected to move further in the west-southwest direction and emerge in the Gulf of Mannar tomorrow. It will be centered very close to Pamban near Rameshwaram by tomorrow noon. Later, it is set to cross the southern Tamil Nadu coast between Kanyakumari and Pamban early in the morning on the 4th of this month as a cyclonic storm. When observed now, the cyclone Burevi has been moving northwestwards with a speed of 15 km per hour and was centered at about 110 km east-northeast of Trincomalee, 330 km east-southeast of Pamban near Rameshwaram and 520 km east-northeast of Kanyakumari. The Met Department has said that the cyclone will gain the wind speed of 70 to 80 km per hour, gusting to 90 km per hour while having the landfall. The Ministry of Earth Sciences has said that heavy to very heavy rainfall will take place at a few places with isolated extremely heavy falls very likely over South Tamil Nadu and over South Kerala tomorrow. As the sea would be very rough, all fishing operations in the region have been asked to be suspended. The Met Department said the fishermen are advised not to venture into Southwest Bay of Bengal and along and off East Sri Lanka coast till tomorrow. They have also been advised not to venture into Comorin area, Gulf of Mannar and South Tamil Nadu, Kerala and West Sri Lanka coast till 4th of December and over Lakshadweep, Maldives area and adjoining Southeast Arabian Reef from the 3rd to 5th of December. As Met Department has confirmed that Burevi cyclone is likely to hit Kerala on December 4th, the state remains on high alert. Met Department predicts heavy rain and strong winds from December 3rd to December 5th in Thiruvananthapuram, Kollam, Pattanamattita, Alappuzha, Idukki and Ernakulam districts. More from our Thiruvananthapuram correspondent.
Sea is expected to be rough with high waves up to 5 meters height. Fishing in Kerala coast is banned till December 5th. Low-lying regions, landslide-prone regions, coastal areas of the southern part of the state are on high alert. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said that Prime Minister had taken stock of the situation today and evaluated the preparedness of the state to face the cyclonic challenge. Mr. Vijayan said that the Navy, Coastal Guards, Air Force, National and State Disaster Forces and various government departments are fully prepared for relief and rescue operations. People are advised to be alert and to be ready with the emergency kit and to contact the State Control Room 1077 in case of emergency. Mayusha Poya, News from Thiruvananthapuram.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken to Chief Ministers of Kerala, Pinarayi Vijayan and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E.K. Palaniswamy on the conditions prevailing due to cyclonic storm Burevi in the states. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said that he has assured all possible support from the centre to help Kerala. Mr. Modi said during telephonic conversation with Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, they discussed the conditions prevailing in parts of the state due to the cyclone Baravi. He said the centre will provide all possible support to Tamil Nadu. The Prime Minister also prayed for the safety and well-being of those staying in the affected areas.
Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank has set up a task force for preparing a roadmap on imparting technical education in mother tongue. The task force set up under the chairmanship of Secretary, Higher Education will take into consideration the suggestions made by various stakeholders and will submit a report in a month. The decision was taken by the minister at a high-level meeting held today on imparting technical education in mother tongue. In Assam, the campaigning gained momentum for the Bodoland Territorial Council polls. The election will be held on 7th and 10th of this month in 2 phases in the 4 districts of BTC. 24 lakh voters will decide the fate of 241 candidates in 40 seats. The BJP Bodoland People's Front BPF, Congress AIUDF, UPPL and independent candidates are in the fray. The BJP is running a high-profile campaigning led by State Party President Ranjit Kumar Das and Senior Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. On the other hand, BPF Chief Hagramma Mahilari is leading the party's campaign. State Congress President Ripun Bora, AIUDF Chief Badruddin Ajmal, UPPL President Pramod Bodo and Lok Sabha MP Naba Saranya are also holding rallies to woo the voters. The first phase of polls will come to an end on 5th of this month.
India and Russia today held consultations on the UN Security Council related issues in Moscow. Both sides held wide-ranging discussions on issues on the UN Security Council agenda and recent developments. Both sides agreed to deepen cooperation on counter-terrorism at multilateral platforms. Vikas Swarup, Secretary West, Ministry of External Affairs, led the Indian delegation. The delegation also included other officials from the Ministry and Embassy of India in Moscow. The Russian delegation was led by Sergei Vasilievich Vershinin, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, and included other Russian Foreign Ministry officials. Russian side welcomed India taking up the non-permanent seat at the UNSC for the period of 2021-22. The Indian delegation briefed Russia on its priorities during its upcoming UNSC tenure. They decided to work closely together, given the common challenges faced and in keeping with their long-standing special and strategic privileged partnership. The fieldwork of door-to-door survey to collect data of each household and commercial establishment in Andaman and Nicobar under 7th Economic Census is being carried out. CSC E-Governance Services India Limited has trained the engaged enumerators and supervisors for collection of data on mobile application. The app has been developed for data capture, validation, report generation and dissemination. According to Census 2011, the total population is more than 3.80 lakhs, having 7.5% of the tribal population.
China today said that all the countries at the SCO Heads of Government meet on 30th November have appreciated India's hosting of this meeting. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chuing, while talking about India's initiatives at SCO in hosting 19th meeting of the SCO Council of Head of Government, said that all the countries spoke highly of the outcomes reached at the meeting hosted by India. Minister for Coal and Mines Prahlad Joshi has said that the government is coming up with many structural reforms in the mining sector to realize its true potential. He said the proposed structural changes in the mining sector aim to increase participation of the private sector in mineral exploration. They will also redefine the standard of exploration required for auctioning of blocks for prospecting license cum mining lease and open acreage licensing policy for allocation of mining rights. He said it will give a major boost to the production of minerals in the country. Mr. Joshi was addressing the 15th edition of Global Mining Summit and International Mining and Machinery Exhibition today. The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring you a special discussion program on COVID-19. Dr. K. Srinath Reddy, President of Public Health Foundation of India, will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1-800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts, #AskAIR. This can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can also follow us on our News on AIR app for updates.
World Health Organization WHO has said India continues to make impressive gains in reduction of malaria burden. According to the World Malaria Report 2020 released by WHO, India is the only high endemic country which has reported a decline of 17.6% in 2019 as compared to 2018. The annual parasitic incidence reduced by 27.6% in 2018 compared to 2017 and by 18.4% in 2019 as compared to 2018. India has also contributed to the largest drop in cases region-wise from approximately 20 million to about 6 million. The percentage drop in the malaria cases was 71.8% and deaths was 73.9% between 2000 and 2019. India achieved a reduction of 83.34% in malaria morbidity and 92% in malaria mortality between the year 2000 and 2019. Government has constituted a high-level ministerial committee for implementation of the Paris Agreement. The Apex Committee for Implementation of Paris Agreement, AIPA, will be chaired by Environment Secretary. The purpose of AIPA is to generate a coordinated response on climate change matters that ensures India is on track towards meeting its obligations under the Paris Agreement. Senior officials from 14 ministries will serve as members to AIPA, who will oversee the progress in implementation of India's nationally determined contributions, NIC. The next year would mark the beginning of implementation of the Paris Agreement, and constitution of AIPA is central to the strengthening the national systems and institutional arrangements for implementation and monitoring of climate actions. It will also ensure that India maintains its climate leadership as one of the few countries in the world whose climate actions are consistent with the goals of the Paris Agreement. The 7th India-Suriname Joint Commission meeting was held virtually today. The discussions were held in an atmosphere of warmth against the backdrop of friendly India-Suriname relations. The JCM was co-chaired by Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan and Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Business and International Cooperation of Suriname, Albert R. Ramadeen.
In cricket, India defeated Australia by 13 runs in the third and final ODI at Manuka Oval in Canberra this evening. Chasing the target of 303 for a win, Australia could make 289 and were all out in 49.3 overs. For India, Shardul Thakur claimed 3 wickets, followed by T. Natarajan and Jasprit Bumrah 2 each. Kuldeep Yadav and Ravindra Jadeja took 1 wicket each. Early electing to bat first after winning the toss, India made 302 for the loss of 5 wickets. Hardik Pandya top scored 92 in 76 balls and Ravindra Jadeja 66 in 50 balls. Both of them remained not out. Skipper Virat Kohli made 63. Australia have already clinched the 3-match series by winning the first and second ODIs.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. In Jammu, lower level of temperature will be 10 degrees Celsius while the upper level will be 24 degrees. The city will have mainly clear sky. Srinagar will have fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky. Later, temperature will hover between -2 degrees Celsius and 14 degrees. Leh will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature will be -9 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 8 degrees. Gilgit will experience mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening, with temperature hovering between -2 degrees Celsius to 16 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky. Temperature will move from 5 to 21 degrees Celsius. The national capital, Delhi, will have fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later, with temperature varying between 8 and 26 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. Temperature will vary between 26 and 30 degrees Celsius. Chennai is likely to have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Temperature will hover between 22 and 30 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will witness mainly clear sky. City will observe minimum temperature of 16 degrees Celsius and the maximum of 29 degrees. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar assures farmers that new farm reform acts are in their interest. 4th round of talks with farmers to be held in New Delhi tomorrow. Health Ministry issues standard operating procedures on preventive measures in markets to contain the spread of COVID-19. National COVID recovery rate reaches 94.03%. Cyclonic storm Burevi set to landfall tonight near Trincomalee in Sri Lanka. Met Department advises total suspension of fishing operation till Saturday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi assures all help from centre to Tamil Nadu and Kerala to tide over challenges of the cyclone. And in cricket, India beat Australia by 13 runs in the third and final ODI at Canberra. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.